Today I am going to be talking about my Snapchat stalker, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I originally wasn't gonna make this video, and it was mostly because I didn't want to give this person any attention. I was talking to my best friend when this first happened. I was like, I have to make this into a V time. It is too interesting not to tell. And she was like, no Jess, don't do that. You'll be giving them exactly what they want. They want attention and they want to know that they're getting to you. So because of that, I did not make a video back when it happened. So it has been exactly 3 months since the incident, and I think enough time has passed that I can talk about it. I don't know if this person is watching this video right now. I really hope not. Go away, scary person. Go away. So a few months ago, I made a video letting people know what my Snapchat was. I was pretty excited about this because it was another way for me to interact with you guys. So the first couple days of me using Snapchat, it was going really well. I was getting awesome pictures and videos from you guys. It was awesome. And because I was getting hundreds and hundreds of Snapchats a day, it was just unfortunately impossible for me to answer them all. I wish I could, but it would take me hours. So I would always try my best to answer a few of them every hour, so at least it looked like I was trying to converse with you guys. So one day, I opened this particular snap. It was a picture, completely black, except for the words, "Why didn't you answer me?" And I was a little weirded out, but I just continued looking through my other snaps, trying not to really think about it that hard. A couple hours later, I get another snap, which is another just completely black picture with the words, "Answer me now or else." And I was getting a little bit annoyed by this, but I had to sort of tell myself that occasionally I was gonna get some weird snaps that I had to just ignore. So once again, I just moved on. The last straw was when I got another snap, another black picture, with the words, "Answer me now or I'm going to kill myself." At this point, I decided to block her because there was just no way that I was going to tolerate threats. I knew she was just saying these things to try and make me feel bad and to try and make me give in. Because I mean, no one's going to kill themselves if someone doesn't answer their Snapchat. That's not going to happen. I knew she was just saying these things to get to me. So like I said, I blocked her and I was really relieved that I did not get anything else from her that day. Well, let me just say, she came back. The next day I was eating lunch peacefully and I get a snap. It was the same username that she had before, but it had the number 2 at the very end of it. So she had obviously made a second account so she can contact me again. I was wondering if maybe she made this account so she can just apologize. Maybe she realized that she really took it over the top, and I'm all for second chances. So what did I do? I opened her snap. It was once again a dark picture, but this time there was a small amount of light that kind of showed her eyes just a bit, and the message said, "Think you could get rid of me?" I was like, what the heck does this girl want? What does she want from me? Leave me alone. If I answered her, she's getting exactly what she wants. It would mean that her threats were successful, so I once again just ignored her. I blocked her for the second time. 2 days go by with absolutely nothing from her. But I'm sure you guys have a slight idea of what happened next. I was going through my Snapchats. I love how I'm actually making the motion with my hands. Going through my Snapchats. And without looking at the username, I clicked on one of her snaps, which I found out after was her same username with the number 3 after it. Yes, she had made a third account, guys. I guess she was depending on the third time being a charm? No, there was nothing charming about what she was doing, okay? So in this video that she sent, the girl is sitting in a dark room, once again. Does she live in a bear cave? I'm starting to consider that. She looks directly into the camera and says, "I know exactly where you live. I will come and find you if you don't answer me." So at this point, I am fuming, and I answered her. Why did I answer her? But if you're in that situation, it's really hard not to defend yourself, you know? So I told her that what she was doing was disrespectful and inappropriate, and I politely told her that she needed to stop. She replied with another video, and this video was 3 seconds of her holding a knife up to the camera. So of course I flip out. I saw that knife and basically threw my phone across the room. She was blocked once again, but I was just so scared of getting another another snap from her. I just had this feeling that she was gonna make a fourth username. This girl did not take a hint. Every time my phone lit up, I basically had a heart attack. I was scared of my phone, guys. It tormented me. Why you do this? So 3 days go by, and what do you know? Guess who I get a snap from. Guess. Just guess. This time she used a completely different username. She was trying to be all undercover, trying to blend in with the other snappers. So sly. It was another video of her whispering, "I've been watching you all week. I always know where you are and what you're doing." So I answer her with, "If you continue Snapchatting me, I will contact the police." I said this basically to scare her, hoping she would stop, because there's nothing the cops can really do. There's no proof that she's stalking me or threatening me, because she's sending me videos which disappear in like 3 seconds. If I screenshotted those videos, it would only be a random picture of a girl in a dark room. I really wish that I had taken screenshots of those pictures where she was writing messages, but I did not think that it would ever get to this point. So I was hoping that saying I'd call the police scared her enough to stop. And she did, on Snapchat at least. That was the last snap I ever got from her. But it wasn't the last time I heard from her. She was like a jack-in-the-box. You never knew when she was gonna pop out at you. And whatever she did, it scared the jelly beans out of you. She sends me a DM on Instagram. She said that she didn't understand why I kept blocking her, and that she was gonna tell everybody that subscribed to me on YouTube that I was a horrible person because I blocked everybody that snapped me. She didn't understand why I blocked her. She didn't understand. What? You're sending me threats, girl. That is why you're blocked. She then says that she's gonna message my boyfriend and that they're gonna fall in love and I'm gonna be jealous. Girl, what? Like, go try. I dare you. He's gonna think you're crazy. So this is the part where Instagram failed me. I blocked her, and somehow on the same account, she was able to send me another DM. This DM said, "Haha, you think you blocked me, but you failed." Like, really, Instagram? I put my trust in you, and you failed. How many times have I pressed a block button in the last week? I was best friends with the block button at this point. We were almost more than that. We were about to take our relationship to the next level. I am marrying the block button, guys. And I think she was crazy. So she did what she said and found my boyfriend's Instagram account. She followed him and then messaged him. But he obviously ignored her because I told him all about her and because her message was just weird and crazy. She was like, "Do you love me? Do you want to be with me? Let's have babies." Since then, which was 3 months ago, I have not heard from her on any sort of social media. Thank goodness. But for all I know, she could have made new accounts and followed me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Who knows? She could always be watching me. She could be watching this right now. So if you are, hi. This is awkward, isn't it? But yeah, I just thought this would make an interesting V time. I just hope no one decides to fake stalk me on my social media accounts thinking that I will make a V time out of it, because I won't. This is the only time I'm gonna make a stalker video about social media. So don't think you're gonna be in my next V time or anything. That was the other reason why I was nervous to make this. Alright, so the other week I was watching a horror movie, and somehow during this movie Bloody Mary was brought up, and just hearing that name brought this huge memory back to me. So I was like, yes, I have to make a V time on this, because I had a very interesting Bloody Mary experience back in elementary school. I'm sure that most of you know who Bloody Mary is. It's a pretty well-known thing, but for those of you who don't, I will briefly explain it for you. The quick version is that she's a very creepy ghost that appears in your mirror if you say her name 3 times. There are so many different like historical versions to her backstory, but a lot of the ones that I found online said that she was a witch named Mary Worth and she was executed. So she comes back in the mirror as like revenge or something. There are so many different versions, guys. Honestly, if you type in Bloody Mary on Google, you'll find a million different stories about her. But the bottom line is that you take a candle into your washroom, you turn off the light, and you spin in circles saying her name 3 times, and apparently apparently she's supposed to appear to you. Some people also say that turning on your sink will help to summon her, and people also believe that if you play this game, there are huge consequences. Like, she'll rip your eyes out, you'll get claw marks on your body, you'll go insane or drop dead at the sight of her. There are so many different things that people have said. It's a little creepy, I'll admit that. But don't worry too much, because it's just folklore. It's just a game made to freak people out. Because I'll admit, I was freaked out when I even researched her. You know when you're researching something paranormal, like ghosts or something, and you start to regret researching it because you're scared the ghosts will like come and get you now? Like, I was researching Bloody Mary, and after I was done, I'm like looking around my room like,
I hope she's not here.
Every small noise I heard, I was like,
please don't kill me. I'm just trying to make a Vee time.
But anyways, I'm just gonna tell you about my experience because it wasn't very pleasant, and it makes for a good Vee time. This happened back when I was in elementary school, and for some reason, back when I was around the age of 10 or 11, the Bloody Mary game was like a huge thing. It was just a popular thing to do. Like, kids would walk around and be like,
I was brave enough to play the Bloody Mary game last night. Have you played the Bloody Mary game?
And if you said you haven't, you'd be like made fun of. It was almost like people got popular for playing the game and coming out alive. And I was a bit curious about this game when I was a child. So eventually my birthday rolled around, and I had this huge party at my house. I invited like all the girls in my class. It was a sleepover party, and we all brought like our sleeping bags, and we were painting our nails, we were throwing around pillows, we were eating popcorn. It was very cliche. It was a very cliche birthday slumber party. And all of a sudden, one of the girls brings up the Bloody Mary game. She was like,
we have to play Bloody Mary, guys. We have to play Bloody Mary. Like, we need to. We have to play Bloody Mary.
And half of the girls were completely for this idea, but the other half were completely against this idea. And I was probably like in the middle. I was intrigued, but I was also worried, you know? One of the girls started telling us a story about a time that she played the game at her grandma's house. She said that she locked herself in the bathroom and said Bloody Mary 3 times, and nothing happened for the first like 5 minutes. So she was like, okay, I guess I'm good. And she went to turn the light back on in her washroom, and it wouldn't turn back on. So she opened the door and ran out of the washroom, and as she was running down the hallway, the toilet in the bathroom flushed, and her like toothbrushes fell into the sink, and all of this weird stuff started happening in her washroom as she ran out. And this other girl at my birthday party claimed that she actually saw Bloody Mary. She said she was playing the game in her house, and she saw Bloody Mary's face come up in the mirror, and she had like long white hair and her eyes were rolled back. I didn't really believe her, but a lot of the girls did. I was kind of a bit smarter than that, and I just assumed that she was just saying that for attention. There are like circles in my eyes from these lights, guys. That's so weird. So logically, the only way that I could determine if any of this was real or not was to do it myself. So while these girls were all sitting in a little circle talking about their Bloody Mary experiences, I stand up very dramatically and I'm like,
I will do it. I will play the game.
It was just super dramatic. It was like I just offered to go fight in battle for my friends or something. I was like, I will go fight the war for you guys. So we all walk up to my upstairs bathroom, and a couple of the girls are going over the rules with me. And as they're talking to me, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. I'm like, what am I putting myself into? What have I done? So I walked into the washroom and stood right in front of the mirror. I turned on the sink and I turned off the lights, and the girls shut the door. So I was just standing there all alone in the dark trying to convince myself that everything was okay. I plugged my ears and closed my eyes and started spinning around in circles saying Bloody Mary 3 times. On the 3rd time, I slowly opened my eyes and looked in the mirror, and I couldn't see anything. So I was like, okay, all is good. There's no Bloody Mary here. This was all fake. But that's when I heard it. I heard a faint whisper, guys. I heard someone whispering my name very softly. I can't even tell you how creeped out I was. It was like, Jess, I see you, Jess. It knew my name. So I completely flip out and run for the door. But these silly girls would not let me out. They were literally all leaning up against the bathroom door so I couldn't get out. I just remember crying and screaming and like beating on the door to try and get out. I was literally experiencing like real panic. Thank goodness one of the adults downstairs at the party heard me, because they like ran upstairs because it sounded like someone was being murdered. Anyways, this adult, it was like one of my friend's parents saw all of the girls like not letting me out of the washroom, and she like cleared them out of the way, opened the door for me, and there I was standing, and I was like,
Bloody Mary said my name.
I was in like complete shock. This parent had to like literally sit me down and tell me all of this was fake. And guess what? One of the girls had in her hands. She had one of those stupid voice changers. They had literally pulled the biggest prank on me. They were saying my name through this voice changer, which I thought as a kid was Bloody Mary. I can't even tell you how upset I was with them. Like, so much for being my friends, guys. Thanks very much. You completely betrayed me. It was probably one of the worst birthday parties ever because I was embarrassed for crying and screaming. The girls were laughing at me. I don't know. It was horrible. But did I see Bloody Mary in the mirror? No. Did I hear her real voice? No. Was it a horrible Bloody Mary game experience? Yes. Will I ever play Bloody Mary again? No. Can we just acknowledge my Sailor Moon shirt for a sec? So cool. Okay, so I decided to do another story time with Vee, but I'm gonna change the name. It's gonna be called Vee Time now. That's just what I decided. As weird as it sounds, it's Vee Time, okay? So the story today is called My Creepy Neighbor. And this story, let me tell you, is very creepy. I don't know how I get myself into these situations. I don't know. So back in my early years of high school, I had a major crush on this guy. Like major, out of this world major. We went to different schools, but we had the same bus stop. So I got to see him every single morning and afternoon, you know, when I was getting on or off the bus. I remember I had like this journal where I'd like write about him and like how I thought he was so cute, and come to think of it, it was a bit creepy on my part, but you know, young love. Young love. Anyways, I couldn't get the courage to talk to this guy. I'd always put these things in my head where I was like, hey, today when he gets off the bus, I'm gonna say hi. But every time he got off the bus, I could not get the courage to talk to him. And I was always wondering, like, does he like me? Is it only one-sided? What's going on here? So one day, I think it was the summer of grade 9, I got a Skype request from him, okay? And my heart just like completely, I almost had a heart attack. I was like, oh my god, I have been acknowledged. He knows I exist. He knows me. Anyways, we ended up talking on Skype for a good like 3 hours, just like getting to know each other, talking about how like we saw each other at the bus stop but we're too like nervous to say hi, so like we were in the same boat. And yeah, we talked like that for probably a good week, just like hours on end, just talking. It was really cool. Oh, and did I mention he lived 2 houses down from me? So literally we were on Skype talking and we didn't even go to like see each other. Wow. So finally, he was like, you know what, Jess? We should meet up. And I was like, oh my, yes. I've been thinking of this moment for the last 3 years. We gotta meet up. So he was like, why don't you come over to my house and we will watch a movie? And I was like, movie, that is a good start. A movie is always a good start because if it gets awkward, you just watch the movie. You don't have to talk if you don't want to, you know? It was a great beginning. So the day that we were supposed to hang out, I remember I got like all dressed up, got some makeup on, did my hair. I was so excited. And I texted him, I'm like, okay, I'm heading over to your house right now. And he was like, okay, just walk in the door. I was like, okay, I'll walk in the door. So like as I'm walking up to his house, my heart's beating so fast, I'm so nervous. And I get to his door, take a deep breath. I knock a few times and then I open it. And he's already just standing in the hallway. And like, this is our first time we've ever stood in front of each other looking at each other. So I was like, hi. Oh my gosh, hi. So remember when I said that he invited me over to watch a movie? Well, I saw his living room with the couch and a big screen TV. So I mean, I went and sat on the couch because I'm like, okay, we're watching a movie. Let me sit down. The minute I sit down, he goes, we do not watch movies in this house. We do not watch movies in this house. And I was like, you've got a TV though. And he was like, yeah, but not in this house. And you know, that was a little strange to me, I thought. I was like, okay, well, what are we doing then? Because I mean, that's why I was invited over. And he answered my question pretty quickly because he was like, we're going in my garage. And I was like, oh, the garage! What a great place for a first date, the garage. It's what I've always dreamed of. So anyway, takes me into his garage. And as you can imagine, it was a dirty, smelly garage, like probably most garages are, you know? Garbage bags, skateboards, dirty shoes. It was a great place, a great place. Anyway, on the floor of his garage, he had the tiniest little TV. It was, it was tiny. It was so small. And so he was like, what do you want to watch? And before I even answered, he was like, let's watch Shutter Island. And like, I had never seen Shutter Island, so I was up for it. I heard it was a great movie. You know, everyone likes Leonardo DiCaprio. Why not? And he was like, yeah, like, that movie's the best. Like, at the end, he finds out it's all in his head. And I was like, oh, you just ruined the movie for me. So, you know, I realized that this date was going a little strange, alright? But I was prepared. I was like, you know what? Maybe this is just off to a bad start, but we can make it better. So the next thing he does is he takes out these foldable chairs. You know, like if you go to like some kid's soccer game and you bring like those just foldable chairs to sit on the grass with? Yeah, he took out some foldable chairs, okay, and told me to sit. So you gotta picture this scenario, okay? We're on foldable chairs in front of the tiniest TV and a dark, stinky, messy garage on our first date. What? So it's a summer day, so being in a hot, stinky garage is not good. So I was like, can you just open the garage, even if it's a little bit? Because I'm I'm about to pass out here. I'm about to die. It's really hot in here. And he was like, yeah, I can do that for you, Jess. So he, you know, lifts the garage up. And so I'm finally getting some air, okay? We're watching Shutter Island. It's okay. I mean, we're doing all right. Anyway, I was like, I'm kind of thirsty. Do you have any water or something? And he's like, I have juice boxes. I've got juice boxes. I was like, whoa, juice boxes. That's great. So we got our juice boxes in hand. We're like halfway through the movie. And all of a sudden, I see my father at the end of his driveway looking in the garage at us. And I was like, oh my gosh, my dad is watching us on our first date in this garage. So I like texted him. I'm like, Dad, go away. What are you doing? Dad, please leave me alone. This is so embarrassing. And he was like, oh Jess, I'm just making sure you're okay. You know, it's your first date. I just want to make sure you're okay. And I was like, yeah, but Dad, like you're creepy. Like he was just peering in the garage. Anyway, he finally left and I really hope that guy did not think it was my dad. Could have just thought it was some creepy man staring at us. So the movie is almost done, and I don't know how I didn't realize this before, but I started hearing these like buzzing sounds, and I kind of look around the garage. I'm like, sounds like bees. What is this? And my eye focuses to the top corner of the garage, and there is, I kid you not, a giant hornet's nest. I was like, dude, I cannot sit here anymore. Those things are coming out, alright? They're heading towards us over here. I cannot do hornets. So he was like, Jess, I kill hornets all the time, alright? Let me get my hornet bat. This guy had a hornet bat in his garage. So I start to think like, how many hornets' nests do they get in their garage to name a bat the hornet bat? They must be like, I mean, this whole day so far was the most confusing, weirdest thing I had ever experienced. So like he gets out his bat and he's like, Jess, you better stand back, okay? Because these things are going everywhere. And I was like, oh my, this is how I die. So he starts like smacking the shit out of that hornet's nest. And you know, as you can imagine, those hornets went crazy, okay? They just swarmed the garage. So I was like, I need to flee this place before I left. I ran out. I ran to the end of the driveway, okay? And a few minutes later he was like, Jess, it's fine. Jess, come back in, it's fine. Come sit on your little seat here, it's fine, Jess. And I was like, you cannot make me go back in there if you gave me $200. I'm not. So he was like, I got an idea. Let's go into my basement. And I was like, can we just use the TV in your house, considering there's big comfy couches, a big screen TV? Why can't we just go there? There's air conditioning, I mean there's food, water. Why are we, like, he was like against his living room. I don't know why. So you know, stupid Jess over here was like, yeah, let's go to your basement, because the day wasn't weird enough that I thought, let me take this opportunity to make it weirder. So we go down this like rickety staircase down to his basement, and it was not a finished basement. There was concrete, it was cold, and in the corner there was a couch with I don't know, decent sized TV, I guess. But what was really strange was that his basement was filled with probably about 20 cats. Yeah. You could not walk through his basement without them grabbing onto your legs. I mean, you're basically walking through cats. And I am not a cat person, I am a dog person all the way. So I was like, I'm just gonna get on this couch and hopefully they'll leave me alone. But no, the minute I sat on his couch, all these cats just surrounded me. They loved me. I didn't love them. I was like, kitties, get off me. Ugh. Anyway, so he puts on, what's that movie name? Dead Silence. It's like that movie with the like demon puppet. You know those people who like go up on stage with those dolls? Whatever they're called, okay? Cannot remember the name right now. But yeah, we watched a movie about this demon thing. So he turns off all the lights in his basement, and there's no windows down there, so I mean, we're sitting in pitch black. Cats all around us, watching this creepy movie. And not once has he offered me, you know, some food. So I'm starving. Anyway, he gets really close to me. Really, really close. like right up to my ear, like that close, and whispers, "I don't bite." And that was like the last straw for me. So like I stood up and I was like, listen, this is not working out. I need to go home. I need to go home. So I left his house and I never returned. I had wasted like 3 years of my life having a major crush on him, only to realize that he was a complete weirdo. So lesson learned, guys. Make sure you know the person before, you know, having a full-out crush on them, because... And don't follow my footsteps. Do not hang out in a dirty, dark garage or basement. You know, red flags should be going up. So this is a pretty recent story, actually. Probably happened around May of last year, and I realized that I've been naming a lot of places in my videos lately. Like I did one about Pizza Hut, I did one about McDonald's, and now I'm doing one about Forever 21. And I'm not even doing it on purpose. It's just the stories that come to my mind. It's weird. So I shop at Forever 21 all the time. It's probably in my like top 3 stores. I actually shop online quite a bit, but Forever 21 is a store that I will actually leave my house and go to physically shop. Because let's be honest, I like sitting in my bed and ordering clothes online, but I do actually go into Forever 21. And there's just so much stuff there. Do you ever just walk in there and feel so overwhelmed? Because there's clothes over there, there's clothes over there, there's a second floor. It's like clothing kingdom. It literally has everyone's style. You can go and get whatever you want there, and that's why I love it. This one time I even went to a Forever 21 with 3 floors. 3 floors, guys. They should have called it like Forever 21 Mansion. So anyways, around May of last year, I had the urge to shop one day. So of course I grabbed my purse and headed over to the mall. I walked around for a bit, but the place I really wanted to go was Forever 21. I walked in and it was actually surprisingly empty. Like I could only see a couple girls walking around. So I was like, okay, this is good. I have the store to myself. Because the worst feeling is being in a packed store with like people pressed up against you. They're like fighting over items, pushing each other, yelling at each other. Let me just tell you that I have never ever gone shopping on Boxing Day because of that reason. If you have gone shopping on one of those days with the massive sales, you are one brave soldier, let me tell you that. Because that is something I will never do. I need you for my mall protection. So yeah, on this particular day I was just enjoying myself, looking through all the clothing racks. I actually found a few nice dresses that I was thinking of wearing to my grandparents' anniversary party. So then this guy walks up to me, and I could see he's wearing a name tag, so I know he works there, and he asked if he could get a change room started for me. So I said yes, because I didn't really want to carry all the dresses around while I shopped. So he took my clothes, and before he walked away, he literally looked through them all. Like he inspected every single dress that I picked out. Then he held this little short black dress up that I had, and he was like,
"This one would look the best on you. Your figure would make this dress look so amazing."
So I was a little bit weirded out that he actually looked through all the dresses that I picked out, but I just said thank you and then just kept walking along. So after about 15 minutes, I decided to go to the change room. And guess who was waiting for me there? That guy. He was like guarding my change room. So anyways, I tried on all of the dresses and I found this really dark blue one that I liked. Like it looked really nice on me and I thought it was the best out of all the dresses I picked out. So when I was leaving the change room, I gave the dresses that I didn't want to the guy. And he acted so weird about the fact that I didn't pick the dress that he liked. He said something like,
"Oh, that's really too bad. The other one I showed you would have looked really good on you. You might regret it later."
And at this point I was getting a little bit irritated, just a little bit. Like, who are you to tell me what I should wear? I'm the customer, I will buy what I want. So I looked at him and said something like, I'd rather buy the dress that I prefer. I then walked over to the empty cash register. And guess who ran over to cash me out? The guy. It was like he was the only one on duty that day. He was taking care of the change room, the floor, the cash register. He had everything under his wing. I think there was like one other woman working on the second floor, but he had like the whole entire bottom floor. So the entire time he's like checking my stuff through and he's trying to make small talk with me, but it's this really awkward small talk because I don't mind talking to cashiers, but he kept making this really prolonged eye contact with me. Like right after I pay, he goes,
"If you miss the dress I liked, it'll always be here for you to come back to. Actually, how often do you come here?"
And I lied and said like, "Oh, not too often, gotta go, bye." And then I left. And I remember going home and telling my mom all about this weirdo, and she said something like, bring a friend next time in case you run into him. Well, about 2 weeks later, I went back to the mall with one of my best friends. She actually needed to find a dress for her birthday, and she also liked Forever 21, so that's where we went. And I had told her all about this guy who works there, so like we were both on alert when we walked into the store. We were like looking around like, is he here? Is he here? And he's not around for the first 15 minutes or so. But then at one point, I look across the store and there he is, and we both make eye contact. So I looked at my friend and I'm like, oh my goodness, hide me. He walks over and he acts like we've been friends for like 5 years. He's like,
oh my gosh, I was wondering when you'd come back. Last time you were here was so awesome. I didn't catch your name last time. What is it?
So I tell him it's Jess because honestly I'm not weird about telling people my name. It's just a name, who cares? But then he's like,
ooh, Jess. I love that name, Jess, yeah. So who's your friend and why are you guys here?
So I tell him that she's looking for a dress for her birthday. And guess what he does? He walks over to that stupid black dress that he likes. He holds it up and says,
did you tell her about the dress that I liked on you?
like, buddy, if you like that dress that much, why don't you buy it? So my friend and I try our best to walk away. But like wherever we go, he's like so close. Like he's like following us through the store. It's so weird. But anyways, my friend gets this gorgeous rainbow sequin dress. And while she's paying for it, I just walk over to the jewelry aisle because I just want to look at the jewelry. And this darn guy walks up to me again. He tells me that he's seeing a movie with his friends on Friday. He tells me the time and the place and says that he hopes that I will come and join him. So I tell him that I have a boyfriend and politely decline. And he acts all confident and he's like,
no, I think you'll come. I think deep down inside you want to join me. I've seen you looking at me, you know what I mean?
yeah, looking at you in terror because I don't want to be around you. I'm looking at you to make sure you're not coming near me. This guy does not take any hints at all. So my friend and I leave the store and I told her what happened and she said, Jess, honestly, next time you go, if he's there again and bothers you, you have to tell somebody. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Like he was being extremely unprofessional. So around July, I went to the mall again. So it's been about a month since I last saw him. And I was alone this time, which might have been a stupid idea. I walked in the store and he was pretty much the first one I saw. I wasn't in the mood to deal with him, so I just completely walked by him. And then he calls over to me and says,
whoa there, first you reject me and now you ignore me?
And that was the moment that I walked right over to another worker in the store. She was a female. And I asked if I could speak to the manager. And guys, she points right over to this stupid guy. He was the manager. This guy was the manager of Forever 21. So I looked back at her in complete shock and asked her if there was anyone else that I could talk to. So she gave me a phone number and I called them right away when I got home. They were so apologetic about how disrespectful the manager was. They said that they would deal with it right away and thanked me for calling them because they don't put up with harassment at all. And I can honestly say that I have never seen him again. And I've gone back there quite a bit. I don't know if he was fired or if he quit. Maybe he's taking different shifts than when I go to the mall. I don't know. Maybe I'll see him again. I hope not. I'm just glad I spoke up about it because no one deserves to deal with harassment like that. Like if someone says no, leave them alone. I'm not playing hard to get. I just really don't want to be around you. You don't act that way towards a customer, you know what I mean? Let's not make fun of my hair today, it's just not wanting to cooperate. Today I have another V time. Today's story is called The Babysitting Disaster. This actually happened to me last year. It was my second year of college and I really needed to earn some extra money. So luckily my parents knew this couple with 2 young kids who really needed a babysitter. So I was like, I'll do it. How hard can it be? I can do this. It's just 2 kids. Psh. Little did I know. Little did I know. So on my first day of babysitting, I headed over to the house and I met the parents and they were really nice people and they introduced me to the kids. And these kids were so adorable. They were so cute. There was a little boy, let's just call him Ben. Ben was probably about 2. He was very tiny and he had this little like blonde short hair. It was so cute. And then there was their daughter, let's just call her Jenna. She was probably about 6. She had glasses, little ponytails, very cute as well. So you know how kids get really excited like when they see someone new? Well, they saw me like walking over and they were like, oh my goodness, a person! Another human! Oh my goodness, come play with me, come play with me! They were super excited to see me and that made me happy because I'm like, I must look so cool. I must be the bomb right now. So I had brought some crafts with me because, you know, if we ever got bored, I'd have something up my sleeve. Anyway, the minute the parents closed the door behind them, I turned around to look at the kids and Jenna was like, my name is Jenna and I'm the boss when my parents are not home. I know everything. I know everything. And I was like, oh my goodness. She has a mouth. So I was like, okay, Jenna, why don't we do some crafts or something? Do you want to do some crafts?
I am the best drawer in my class. I always get A+ in art class.
And I was like, well, that's good then. Let's do some crafts. We're doing these crafts, and I noticed that Jenna finishes very quickly. And I look over and I'm like, Jenna, what did you draw?
I drew a picture of you.
Oh, really? Can I see it? And she pulls up this page she was working on, and it's a picture of me with a mustache, a unibrow, and she drew herself beside me, hitting me in the head with something. And I was like, Jenna, what are you hitting me with?
A spatula. It's a spatula.
Oh, okay. Aren't you creative? Aren't you creative? Anyways, after the scary crafts were done, Jenna and Ben told me they wanted to watch Thomas the Train. So I had to pretend that I was like enjoying myself, because if I looked away for 1 second, Jenna was like,
You're missing the show. You're missing the show. Jess, you're missing the show. Do you have something against Thomas the Train?
So eventually watching Thomas the Train made Jenna very hungry, and she was like begging me to make her food. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this girl a bagel. So as I was heading to the fridge to get a bagel, I turned to Ben and I'm like, Ben, do you want any food? And he looked at me and he was like, Ben, are you sure you don't want any food? Are you sure?
I don't want food. I don't want food.
And I was like, okay, alright, I'll just go make Jenna food then. So I made her this beautiful cream cheese bagel, and I gave it to her, and she went and sat down beside her brother. And the minute she took a bite into her bagel, her brother was like, I want a bagel! I want a bagel! And I was like, Ben, you just said you didn't want a bagel. No, I want a bagel like Jenna! And like, I had literally just put away all my supplies. But you know, I was a nice babysitter. So I was like, you know what, Ben? I will get you a bagel, Ben. So I made him a bagel, and he like had like one tiny bite of it and was like, I'm done. And I was like, great, that's such a waste of food. So it's nearing bedtime, and I'm trying to get them, you know, settled down, but friggin' Jenna over here was like, watch me do cartwheels, watch me do cartwheels. And I'm thinking like, we're in this tiny little TV room. Where the hell are you gonna do cartwheels? But without me even saying yes or no, she started doing cartwheels. She did so many cartwheels that afterwards she almost threw up. Like, she probably did about 20 cartwheels back and forth until she was like, oh my goodness, too many cartwheels. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, Jenna, why don't you just sit down for a bit? We're gonna get ready for bed, okay? So the story that I've been telling you up until now is not even the bad part. Bedtime is where the nightmare begins. So while I was going upstairs to put Ben to bed, I gave Jenna some crackers that she sat down, she's eating them. So I bring Ben up, I say, Ben, do you want to go to the washroom before you go to bed? And he said no. And I was like, gosh, I should really send him to the washroom before he goes to bed. But like, every time I tried to bring him to the washroom, he would scream. So I was like, I cannot force this child to go pee. Like, that's just horrible. I'm not gonna be that person. So I put him to bed. And I had to sit with him rubbing his head for like 10 minutes, and finally he fell asleep. I was like, thank goodness, one down. One down. So then I went down to Jenna and I was like, Jenna, it's time for bed, let's go upstairs. And of course Jenna was like, Mommy and Daddy let me stay up till midnight every single day. Really, Jenna? Because they told me your bedtime was 8 o'clock. When did they say that? They never say that. Well, Jenna, they actually wrote it down for me right here. Fine, then can I stay up till like 8:30? And I was like, you know what? Why not? The parents aren't gonna be home till around 9:30. I don't think there's any issue with me keeping her up for another half an hour. You know, I want to be that good babysitter that they love. So we got out some books, and we sat on the couch and I was reading her some stories. So it was finally 8:30 and I brought her up to her room, and she would not stop jumping on the bed. She would not stop jumping on the bed. And the noise woke Ben up. The noise of the bed woke Ben up. So he starts screaming in his room, screaming and crying. So I'm like, Jenna, sit on the bed, get your pajamas on, I'm gonna go deal with your brother. So I sat by his bed for like 5 minutes, rubbed his head again, and he fell asleep. So I went back to Jenna's room, and she's like running around. She's so hyper. This little girl was so hyper. So I'm like, Jenna, we agreed that 8:30 you go to bed, so let's get into bed now. I can read you one more story, but you should be going to bed. And she was like, I am not going to bed until you give me more crackers. You only gave me 10 crackers. I usually have 20. Jenna, why didn't you tell me this while we were reading downstairs? It's bedtime now. I'm sorry, it's bedtime. Do you want me to tell my parents that you're a horrible babysitter? Because I will tell them that. And I'm thinking like, this 6-year-old really has a mouth on her. She knows what she's doing. She really does. And I was thinking like, what happened to the previous babysitters? I wonder why they left. So she kept pestering me, so I finally gave in. I was like, okay, Jenna, please make a deal with me, okay? If I give you 10 more crackers, just 10 more crackers, will you go to sleep? And she said yes. So I was like, Jenna, we have to be very quiet going down the stairs because we don't want Ben to wake up, okay? And as we were going down the stairs, she yells, "Crackers! I'm gonna have crackers!" And Ben wakes up and starts screaming. He's like, "I want crackers too!" I was like, oh my, they're not paying me enough for this. So I took them both down and gave them crackers. They were down there eating their crackers for like 15 minutes. They ate their crackers so slow, and I knew they were doing that on purpose. I knew that they were thinking, if I eat these crackers really slow, I wouldn't have to go to bed. They were delaying their time. So after the crackers, I bring them back upstairs, put Ben back asleep again for the third time after rubbing his head, put Jenna in bed, turn off her light and say, "Jenna, that's it now. Go to bed, please." Because it's already 9 o'clock, the parents are gonna be home in half an hour. I need these kids sleeping by the time they get home. So finally, both their lights are off. I think that they're both sleeping. I'm like, everything is okay now. So I walk downstairs and I turn on the TV and I'm just relaxing. I'm just completely relaxing. And all of a sudden, from upstairs, I hear, "I have to poop! I have to poop!" And Jenna walks down the steps and looks at me and says that she has to poop. And I'm thinking, can't 6-year-olds just go poop on their own? But anyway, I was like, okay honey, let's go poop. So I bring her up to the washroom. She sits on the toilet. And I go to turn around because I'm not gonna watch this girl poop. And she's like, "Where are you going? You have to stay here. You gotta stay here and watch me poop. Mom always stays and watches me poop." And I was like, "Well, I'll stay here, but I'll turn around so I'll just turn around." And so we settled on that, and I turn around, and while she's pooping, she's telling me about her day at school. And it's the weirdest thing because she like talks, pauses, drops a poop, and then keeps talking, and it goes on like that for about 5 minutes. And I was thinking, this is the weirdest conversation I've had ever. So when she's done pooping, I'm looking at the clock, and it's 9:15, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to get this girl to bed. So just as she flushes the toilet, she screams, "I'm done pooping!" And guess who wakes up? Ben wakes up. Ben screams, gets out of bed, and walks over to the door of his room. So I go up to Ben, and I'm like, "Ben, what is wrong?" Guess what he tells me? He tells me he needs to poop. So I'm thinking, I told you children to poop an hour ago, and you said you didn't want to. So I'm thinking, I gotta make this fast. Ben has to poop in like 2 seconds because his mom and his dad are gonna be here very soon. So Ben doesn't sit on, the actual toilet because he's only like 2. So he has one of those like little potty trainers that they're plastic and they just sit on the floor of the washroom. And it's like a bowl, so when they poop and pee in there, you basically have to like dump it into the actual toilet. It's a really gross process. So we walk in there, he needs help like getting his diaper off and everything else. So I put him on the little potty trainer thing, and 5 minutes go by and he hasn't pooped yet. So I'm like, "Ben, are you sure you have to go to the washroom?" And he just like nods his head at me, so I'm like, okay. I mean, I can't force this child to poop. Like, I can't be like, "Poop, poop, for goodness sake." So I was just waiting patiently, watching the clock, hoping that I can get Ben into bed before the parents get home. So finally, Ben decides to poop, and he pees at the same time, so I'm thinking, great, 2 in 1. He can go to bed and not be disturbed again. So he's still sitting there, and I'm like, okay, Ben, stand up now, I'm gonna get your diaper on. And he doesn't get up. And I'm like, "Ben, we're gonna go now, we're gonna go to bed now, okay?" And he goes, "I am still pooping." And I was like, "Ben, you're not. You're not pooping anymore, you're done." And this child was done. Like, he hadn't pooped for about 3 minutes. Like, he was done. I knew he was done. So I go reach down to help him up off the little potty. And he like, friggin', you know how the little potty is on the floor? He starts like shifting around the washroom on this little potty trainer. So like, he's like almost trying to get away from me as I get closer to him. So because he's kind of dragging this potty on the ground, his poop and pee just go all over the floor. Like, there's poop on that side of the washroom, pee over there, poop, everything's just covered in Ben's potty. The washroom stinks, it is wet, my feet are soaking, I am about to puke. And he still refuses to get off the potty. And I'm thinking, gosh, if this was my little brother, I would just lift him up, put his diaper on, and throw him into bed. But you know what? He wasn't my child. So I couldn't just grab him or do anything because that's not right. So all I could do was say, "Ben, please, come on, please, Ben, like, let's go." But he was so stubborn, he did not want to get off the toilet. So I'm looking around at all the poop and pee around the toilet, and I hear the worst noise I've ever heard in my life. The doorbell rings. I look at my watch, and it's 9:30. And as soon as the doorbell rings, Jenna, she jumps out of bed, and she's like, "Oh, Mommy and Daddy are here? So here I have this child now jumping on the bed, excited her parents are home. Her lights are on. And I have Ben in the washroom, sitting soaking wet in his pee, on the little potty trainer with his poop scattered around the washroom. And my feet are soaking wet in his pee. So I go down the stairs, my heart's pounding, because I'm like, they will never invite me over again. And I open the door very slowly, and I don't let them in yet. I'm kind of standing in their way. And I was like, aren't you guys home early? Aren't you guys home early? And the mom was like, oh no, actually, we're home on time. I told you 9:30. Are the kids in bed? And I was like, well, the kids, they were in bed. They were sleeping. And like at this point, the mom's like trying to get past me, and I'm like, wait, I need to explain something first, please. But she like pushes past me, walks upstairs, sees the disaster in the washroom. Ben is still on the potty. Jenna is jumping on the bed. She turns around and looks at me and says, it was nice having you, please leave. I was like, what? Why? Like, what did I do? I was trying to be, I brought them crafts. I gave them all the food that they asked for. I read them stories. I let Jenna stay past her bedtime, and yet they still did this to me. Anyway, they have never invited me back, and I have never babysat since that time. I don't know if it was me or the kids or both, but it's probably the kids. It's probably the kids. Anyway, that was my babysitting disaster. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I went home and I told my parents about it, and they were like just as horrified as I was. But like now we kind of just laugh about it. But anyway. Today I'm going to do a couple V-time stories in one video. I've done that before a couple times. To sum it up, it's been a really weird week for me. I've just had crazy bad luck and just all in all strange things happening. By the way, my shirt says it's been a weird day, and it's shiny. I love shiny things. It should really say it's been a really weird week, but it's okay. I'll start with a story called The Man in My Backyard. So this past Sunday, my boyfriend was over, and because I have a hot tub in my backyard, we were like, we should invite a couple friends over and just chill out in the hot tub. Sounds like a good night, right? So my boyfriend invited 2 of his guy friends over, and we all went out into the hot tub. Let me tell you, this was pretty late at night. I think it was 11 p.m. So it was like extremely dark. You couldn't see anything outside except for like the lights in the hot tub. But it was cool. We were having some pretty awesome conversations. And all of a sudden we hear this sound. It's someone's voice, and we know it's a man, but we didn't really know what he said or where he was. And then we heard it again, and I turned to my boyfriend and I was like, it sounds like he's really close. Like, I was thinking maybe he was one of our neighbors and they were just talking really loudly. But then I saw, and because it was really dark, I couldn't see that well, but in the very corner of my backyard, I see this head pop over the fence and look at us. And I could only see a silhouette because it's dark. I can't see any face. And I was like, okay, this is a bit creepy. What does he want? And all you can hear was this guy saying like, hey you guys, come over here. Come over here, guys. So this creepy guy in the corner of our backyard with his head popped over the fence was asking us to go over to him. And like, we're in our swimsuits in the hot tub and we're like, what the hell does this guy want? So what he does next is just extremely creepy. He like puts his hand on the fence and like completely throws his body over the fence. So pretty much all of him is in my backyard. And he's still calling for us to go over. He was like, it's not that hard. Just walk over here. Walk over to me. I have something to ask you. And so I decided to say something to him because I'm like, this is my backyard. It's very late at night. What is this guy doing? He must have been drunk. I don't know. He was not in his right mind. So I was like, sir, can you please leave? Please, sir, can you just leave? And it was like quiet for a moment, and we were like, okay, maybe he'll like listen to what I said and get out of my backyard. But he still stood there, like just quiet. So I was like, okay, I think I need to get my dad involved in this. So I went in the house, and my dad is watching Game of Thrones with my mom. So I'm like sopping wet, I have my towel over me, and I'm like, Dad, you're not gonna believe what's going on. And he was like, Jess, I'm watching Game of Thrones. Tell me later. It's the best part right now. And I was like, no, Dad, there is a creepy creepy man in our backyard, in the very corner of the backyard, asking us to go over to him. I don't know what he's doing, but we might have to call the police. And of course my dad's all like, we don't need to call the police, I will deal with it. I am the man of this house, I will go talk to him. So I was like, okay dad, alright, you go talk to this guy. So my dad goes out into the backyard over to this guy, and my dad can barely see him because it's so dark, but he sees his figure and goes over to him and he's like, what the hell are you doing? What do you want? And the guy asked my dad for weed. He wanted drugs. He was in my backyard wanting someone to give him drugs. That alone is weird. But the fact that he had to climb over my fence at almost midnight, it was very strange, but after my dad had some words with him, he left, and that was that. The next story I have to tell you guys is about when I went to my grandma's house this past Thursday. I went there for dinner because I don't get to see my grandma a lot, so I was like, you know what? After work, I'm gonna go to her house and we're gonna have dinner together. So we're at dinner and she's like telling me about how the past 6 months this raccoon has been living in their backyard and shitting in the same spot behind their shed for the past 6 months. So my grandma was out in the garden and she was like planting some flowers and stuff, and she started smelling this like really weird thing, and she's like, what smells like poop? And so she looks behind the shed and 6 months of shit had piled up so high. It was just this mound of poop. And so my poor grandpa had to like scoop it up and clean it. Anyway, I'll get to the part that's kind of made me feel bad. So because we were catching up at dinner, I told her something that was pretty cool. You guys don't know this, but I think it was on Tuesday, MTV contacted me because they found my YouTube channel and they really liked my videos and they wanted me to be in a new show that they're having. And they're filming this summer, and so they asked me to come down to California to be in their show. And I mean, I was so flattered, I was excited, my mom was like jumping around like, oh my gosh, MTV! But unfortunately I can't do it. This is when everyone's like, boo! No, it's honestly, I'm in an internship right now. In order to graduate college, I have to do 160 hours, and I'm in the very middle of it right now, so if I left, I'd completely lose this internship, and they want me in California like in the next week, and it's not possible right now, but I mean, who knows what will happen in the future. I was just really flattered that they even contacted me. So I'm telling my grandma this, and I told her everything that happened, and all she got out of it, okay, this is what she said after I told her all this MTV stuff. She was like, wait a minute, you said you had YouTube? Yeah, Grandma, but MTV contacted me through YouTube. Well, yeah, I mean, I have a YouTube channel, that's how they found me, but can you believe they want me to be in their show? Jess, you should not have YouTube. YouTube is bad. There's bad people on there. They're gonna find your house and come kill you? No, Grandma, they're actually really great. I like YouTube. Then her and my grandpa were telling me how YouTube is not the best place to be on, but whatever. I love YouTube. I'm staying here. So that kind of got me down a bit, but they were still proud of me, of course. They're my grandparents. They're gonna be proud of me for my successes. Anyway, so that's that. And then it was time to leave their house, and I was just getting in my car, and this guy in like a white van drives by my car, rolls down his window, and throws 2 empty McDonald's cups out onto the road. Like, he just couldn't wait to get home to throw them in the trash? Like, no, he opened the window, he was like, oh, I don't want these. And just tossed them. They like pretty much hit my grandfather's driveway. And my grandpa got so mad. He was like, did you see that guy? Did you see that man? What an idiot. What an idiot. And then my poor grandfather like went over and cleaned up the cups and threw them away. Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to throw them away, not out your window. So that got me mad. Like, I tweeted about it. Ugh, people, man. And then yesterday was probably the most pissed off I've been in a while. So I'm doing my internship right now, and it's like 9 to 6. It takes me about an hour to get there, so I have to get up pretty early in the morning to drive. So I'm really tired, and I don't drink coffee. So I have to resort to hot chocolate to wake me up. So every single morning, I go and get my hot chocolate from Tim Hortons. And yesterday morning, I don't know, I was just, you know when you're just grumpy because you're just tired? But anyway, I went and got my hot chocolate, and I got back in my car. And in order for me to exit the Tim Hortons parking lot, I have to go over a sidewalk in order to make my left turn onto the road. Like, that's just what you have to do. And I think pretty much the bumper of my car is kind of blocking the sidewalk, but you could still go on the sidewalk behind my car. Like, it's not that bad. So this like man, he's pretty muscular, he's a pretty big man. He look like the Hulk. He comes right up to my car, knocks on it, and goes, "Idiot, you're blocking the sidewalk." And I was like, excuse me? So I rolled down my window a bit, and I was like, "Sir, walk around my car. It's not that hard." And he shakes his head, gets closer to my car, so his chest is basically touching the window, like he's right there beside me, and he goes, "I'm a pedestrian. I will wait for your car to move, and then I will continue walking." And I just felt so mad. I was like, really? Are you serious? Like, there are actually people out there that just act like smartasses and want to ruin your day. Like, there was so much space still on the sidewalk for him to continue walking, but because my back bumper was slightly on the sidewalk, he had to make a big deal about it. Really, sir? Really? Really? And then after I was done at 6 at my internship, I was walking in my car with one of my coworkers, and we were just talking, having a good time, and all of a sudden I inhaled this like really tiny fly. It like, I barely even noticed it until I started like choking. I was in the middle of telling her something, and I was like, "I can't breathe." And she was like, what is going on?" "I just inhaled a fly. I just inhaled a fly. I just killed it. It committed suicide in my mouth." And then when I finally got to my car, I saw that a bird had just shit all over my windshield. And it wasn't even like a normal sized bird poop. It covered like my entire, I couldn't even, like if I wanted to drive, I couldn't because I couldn't see out my window. That's how big it was. I mean, the bird must have died. That's how big the bird shit was. It must have just completely exploded. So I had to like clean it off. I just didn't have a very good week, guys. So I thought I would just come on here, have a Vee time venting time, a Vee time vent. I gotta stop making weird names for this stuff. So because I am all about randomness, before I started filming this video, I had a random thought about something that I did as a child that was so stupid and so dangerous. So when I was a kid, I don't even want to tell you this. This is so embarrassing. At breakfast time, I put my waffles into the toaster, I would toast them, and then I would proceed to get a fork, and I would take out my waffles with the fork instead of my hands. I literally had a death wish. Do you know why I did that? It was because I was too afraid to get my hands burnt because the waffles were so hot after being toasted. So I thought, oh, I have a better idea. Let me just get out this metal fork and stick it in there because that is so much safer. I had no idea that you can get so badly electrocuted by doing that. I mean, thank goodness I never did. I was literally playing that, what's that game? Operation? You know when you can't touch the edges? I was playing Operation without even knowing it. Guys, just don't do that at home. You probably already know that because you guys were dumb like little baby Jessii. I wasn't even a baby though. I think I pretty much did that until I was like 15. I have all the brains in my head. Anyways, now that I've shared that random thought with you, let's get into this story. And yes, it is a story because I haven't done one of those in so long, and my sister and I think it was like a week ago, we had a really strange night together, and I thought that I would share that. It's not like majorly crazy or anything, but it was weird. It was really weird. So basically, I have moved to a new house, so my sister Mandy and I don't get to see each other as often, and we're like this. We're like this. I miss her. So we decided to plan a day for her to come over to my house, and we would go bar hopping in town. And yes, Jessii Vee drinks sometimes. Okay, I'm 23. I know I look 10, but I'm 23. Every time I go to a restaurant and order like a glass of wine, the waiters are like, aren't you like 18 or something? I'm like, no, I was 18 like 5 years ago. I can't believe, I mean, I'm gonna be turning 24. I'm basically almost dead. So basically my sister came over and we just planned to go bar hopping to get some food. Not to get like drunk or anything, just to like go to each bar and order one drink. And like food, cause like when you're drinking you should like eat. You know what I mean? It keeps your mind clear. I feel so weird talking about drinking on this channel. Whenever I've ever posted like a Snapchat of me with a glass of wine, or like an Instagram post with me with a glass of wine, people are like,
You drink? You're not allowed to drink, Jessii. How dare you betray us? You can't just go and drink. You're Jessii Vee. Jessii Vee doesn't drink.
I mean, Jessii Vee likes her wine every once in a while. If you want me to be real with you, I'm gonna be real with you. So anyways, my sister comes over and we decide to call an Uber because you just don't drink and drive. If you want, don't be stupid. So I open my app and And the area that I'm living now, there's not a ton of Uber drivers around. Like, I used to live really close to Toronto, and like every 2 steps there's an Uber driver. Like every other car you pass by, you're like, oh, that's probably an Uber. But the place I live now, Uber drivers are rare, you know what I mean? It's like catching a rare Pokemon. You see one and you're like, oh my god, gotta catch it. So there was like 2 or 3 cars like in the vicinity of where I was. So I put in the location that we wanted to go, and this one car pops up and it's like, yeah, I'm on my way to pick you up. And it showed that this guy was 7 minutes away. So I was like, that's not bad at all. He's pretty close by. We'll be on our way in no time. So Mandy and I are just sitting on the couch waiting, and suddenly I get an unknown call. And Mandy was like, Jess, pick it up. It's probably the Uber driver. So I was like, true. So I pick it up. I feel like I need to act out this conversation. Where's my hat? Where's my favorite Jessii Vee acting hat? You guys know the hat. It's red, has little squares on it. I found it! For some reason, it was beside a dishwasher rinse agent. I have no memory of buying this. What do you even do with it? I don't want it. I don't want it. So this hat is gonna represent the Uber driver, alright? So I pick up my phone and I'm like, oh, UPS is here! That's not what I said, actually. UPS is here because I have a window now and I can actually see who's in front of my house. Oh my gosh, my package arrived. Got a package from Walmart. So exciting. Anyways, so I pick up the phone and I'm like, hello?
Hello, yes, this is Uber.
Hi Uber, I'm Jess. What's up?
Yeah, so where do you want me to pick you up? Like, where are you?
Oh, I put my address in the app, so you should have the address there.
Yeah, I know, I have your address.
Okay, so, what's up? What's the problem?
Yeah, so, you're way too far. I can't pick you up.
What do you mean you're way too far? It says you're 7 minutes away.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right?
No, I don't understand. I don't understand. 7 minutes, that's not long at all.
No, it is, like 7 minutes. That's like more than 5. You know?
Well, I'm glad you went to school. But if you didn't want to pick us up, if you knew you were 7 minutes away, why didn't you just cancel the ride?
Well, you know, I just thought I'd call you first, you know, just to make sure it was your address.
Well, why would I put in someone else's address? I mean, obviously I'm gonna put in mine. That's where I want you to pick us up. So can you or can you not?
I mean...
Listen, dude, I mean, we want to go bar hopping, so you gotta decide quickly, alright? We want to hop. We want to hop soon.
Alright, well, if I pick you up, where do you want me to take you?
I mean, I put my destination in the app as well, you know? But, it's just into town. It's like a 3-minute drive.
So you want me to drive 7 minutes to get you, and then 3 minutes to town? That's 10 minutes! That's 10 minutes!
Once again, I'm glad you can add. But I mean, really, I've had Uber drivers take me like 45 minutes. What's the problem? You're like one of the only 3 Uber drivers around. You know we're like out in the country. You know we have to drive far anyway. Why are you out here if you don't want to drive people more than 7 minutes? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Listen, I have an idea. I have a really great idea.
Okay, are you like on your way right now, or are you parked somewhere? Because I'm fine listening to your idea if you're already on the move, you know what I mean? You gotta be like Aslan, you gotta be on the move.
No, I'm parked, but here's the idea. I'll come pick you up, and, you can give me cash.
You... Sorry, what? Sorry, what do you say? What?
Yeah, so go to your purse, whatever cash you have, take it out and give that to me when I arrive. Give me all the cash.
No, because I'm already paying on the app. You're getting a huge percentage. You're already getting paid for this. You're getting paid for driving here 7 minutes.
Cash or no drive?
No drive. No deal. No.
Alright, $7 for the 7 minutes I drive.
No, sir. No.
6.
No.
5.
No.
4, 3.
Sir.
2.
Sir.
$1.
Sir, I'm canceling the ride.
Don't cancel.
Sir, I'm canceling the ride.
Don't leave me.
Bye.
Don't leave me.
Bye, sir.
No.
Alright, so obviously I made it a bit more dramatic than it actually was, because you know me, I'm Jessii Vee, I'm dramatic sometimes. The actual way it went is basically when he called me, he told me that I was way too far for him to pick me up, and I was literally 7 minutes away. It showed on the app that he was 7 minutes away. So he was demanding that my sister and I pay him cash if he's gonna pick us up. Like, no dude, we're already paying on the app. No. So I just went and reported him afterwards and canceled the ride, and then we got paired up with another Uber who was a woman. She picked us up and she was super nice, but on the way to her driving us to town, it was a little bit weird because her boyfriend kept calling her, and the first couple times that he called, she kind of just hung up on him because she knew she was taking a client and didn't really want to talk to him while we were in the car, which I guess is a respectful thing to do. But after he called about 5 times, she turned to my sister and I and she was like,
I should probably pick this up. I'm really sorry guys, do you mind?
And like, my sister and I aren't really gonna care about that. We were like, yeah, that's fine. Pick up the phone, talk to your boyfriend. She just seemed kind of embarrassed and she was like,
yeah, he calls me like every 10 minutes to make sure I'm okay.
And like, you know, I get, you know, boyfriends being protective, but like, Every 10 minutes? If my boyfriend called me every 10 minutes, I'd be like, are you okay? What is wrong with you? Did you put a fork in the toaster and get electrocuted because your brain's not working right now? I'm just kidding, but like, when you're that attached to somebody that you can't go 10 minutes without hearing their voice, you know, it's probably not healthy. But anyway, she picks up the phone and she's like,
honey, hi, I have clients right now. I have to go. I'll call you right when I drop them off, or like 3 minutes away from the destination.
and he was like,
Okay, babe. Okay, I just want to make sure that you're alright. Is everything fine? Are you good? Are you fine? You okay?
I am in the same state that I was when you called 10 minutes ago. I'm fine.
You sure you're okay? What are you doing right now? You sure you're fine?
I am. I'm still in my car, like I was 10 minutes ago.
Okay, and your car is safe? You're safe in your car? Everything's okay? People in the back seat are fine? Who's in the back seat right now?
Honey, the car is safe. But if I continue talking to you on the phone, it might not be anymore. There's 2 young girls in the back seat. They are fine.
Alright, just don't trust anybody. Okay? Don't trust anybody.
Okay, I gotta go. Bye. Bye.
Wait, I love you. Babe, I love you.
Okay, I love you too.
Okay, but I love you more. Okay? I'll call you in 10 minutes, alright? Okay, baby? Okay?
Alright. Bye.
and she turns around to us and she's like,
I'm sorry, he likes to call me.
and we're like, really? Because we couldn't tell. So anyways, she wasn't a weird Uber driver, it was more her boyfriend that was weird, but the first Uber driver, like, why are you even an Uber driver, dude? There's a spider on my window. And it's making a web. Hey, no, go away. What do you think this is, Charlotte's Web? Do I look like a pig to you? I'm not Wilbur. I don't make friends with spiders. Go away, please. I'll deal with that afterwards. Anyways, the rest of the night went pretty well. We didn't have too many strange incidences. My sister actually went up and sang karaoke at one of the karaoke bars. I'll show a little video of her singing right here. I won't actually play the audio because like, can I get copyrighted for that? But yeah, she was actually brave enough to go up there and sing in front of tons of people and I was so proud of her. I mean, the wine might have had a slight influence. Just a small one, like a tiny little, slightly bigger. But she still did it. And she's awesome for that. There was only one creepy-ish person that was at the very last bar we went to. By the way, we didn't go to like 12 bars or anything. Like, I cannot. That's too much wine for me. We went to like 3 or 4 and it was spread out. Like, we went to one bar every single hour. It was spread out far enough. But there was a strange man at the very last bar. He looked like he was like maybe 47 or like close to 50, around that age. He was probably a daddy. Like, he was probably someone's dad, okay? Which is why it was so creepy, because all he did was stare at us the entire time we were at that bar. He had his little beer in his hand, he was leaning against a wall and he was like... And you know when you look at somebody and you catch them looking at you, usually they look away. Usually the normal thing to do is to be like, oh, she saw me looking, better look away. But he was like he'd like nod his head to like let me know that he knows that I caught him looking at me. Like, dude, don't you have kids at home to get to? Do they know you're here? Don't you have like something to build in your garage? Go teach Timmy how to ride a bike. Anyways, I don't know. There's always gonna be that one creepy person you meet at a bar. That's it. There's just gonna be one. Anyways though, that's the end of today's story time. I know it wasn't like super crazy, but it was in the moment.